As you mentioned, now your role is slightly different, because earlier you had Bhagwan who gave you instructions in the execution of various missions, but now you are suddenly in a position where, along with a few other distinguished elders, you have to drive the trust. You will have to take decisions. How has this role been?
Honestly, I cannot say that I or my colleagues are doing it. At an external level, yes, we have to do that. But more and more, the feeling comes that it is Swami who is providing the energy, and more important than that is the capacity to use our judgment to be in line with the directions he gave when he was with us.
So it is he who's...
I think, it will sound pompous if I say, well, we are not the doer, Swami is the doer. It is not at an intellectual level that we understand this teaching that give up the feeling of doership. But having been with him in practical day-to-day working, the feeling even then was that we are not doing it. It is Swami's work, he's getting it done through us. And I think there is a continuity of that feeling now, that it is he who is doing, and we seem to be continuing to do the same thing as we were doing, except for the fact, as I said, that physically we are not able to feel him.
So only the physical presence is not there, but the cosmic presence is there and he's guiding.
Yeah, I think because of the long training of having done something even then, as his command that has been carried out, his will that has been exercised, his desire and his wish to be fulfilled. I think people who have been accustomed to doing that continue to have that feeling, as I said, even if he is not physically with us. It is, of course, as you said, it's a spiritual dimension normally, but in our case, possibly it is a continuation of a habit that has been ingrained in us.
In some way, Swami has prepared all of us for this in his own inimitable way.
That's what I said. It is the feeling not given to one. It is a feeling given to all of us here. Whatever the task that we are entrusted to us, all of us feel that physically we are carrying it out. But the driving spirit is not the fading energy within, but it is the all-pervasive energy all around us.
Yes. The Central Trust continues to be engaged in all the multifarious activities, and in fact it has only increased in the last 3-4 years. Personally, when you look at all the activities of the Trust and the way Bhagwan was guiding the Trust right from 1972, what do you think is the vision of this institution?
See, there are two aspects. One is the institutional aspect, the other is the organizational aspect. Institutions like these super specialty hospitals, the general hospitals, the mobile hospitals, university, schools, and these are set up by him in order to show to the world in practical terms the concretization of the ideal. Swami felt that will be an ideal situation to give free health service to the poor and needy. These super specialty hospitals and other hospitals became the models, and they now represent as expressions of not only his will, but also of the possibility of doing these things by any well-meaning philanthropist. When he set up the hospitals, he said, I'm not setting it up as God incarnate. I'm setting it up to show that this is a doable model. Anyone who has the will to do service, selfless service to society, can set up an institution of this nature. Therefore, we still have to wait and see how this message will get translated in the years to come. Similarly, when the university was set up also, he said, there are so many universities. Why is it that I have to set up this university? And all of us are familiar with what he said, what is the objective of the university, etc. So it is this part of the institutional setup and its its image as representing the selfless service of Swami. That is at the heart of these institutions, and that has to be really taken note of. Similarly, the drinking water supply project. It is not as though it is the resources that are lacking. I mean, government has enormous resources at its disposal. And there are organizations perhaps which also have enormous resources at its disposal. It is the will to do, and the commitment, and I think the spirit of doing things which are felt deeply by the people, especially poor people, as not having been provided for in their life. So there is a great felt need. And when Swami says that you see me in all, he made them see him in themselves by doing this work. It is not the lack of material resources that has stood in the way of implementing these things by other people. It is that great power of love that expressed itself in terms of this service that perhaps was not there. That's why even material resources and human resources cannot be a substitute for that deep divine love.
And in that sense, the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust as a non-governmental organization is very different.
Yes, one of the things which Swami had said when he set up these institutions and these, is to say that we have to be doing, we should be doing what we can. And the Swami's plans, which you have seen, are all plans which he was very sure that through this central trust, of which he was the founder trustee and the sole trustee, wanted to do. So there's no question of depending on resources outside of this trust which he presided over. So whatever he wanted to do was well within the resources of the trust. As I said, if others have not done it, it is not because of material resources. It is that divine commitment, if you can call it, yes, to serve his own, yes, people. And the people in the world are his people. It's not confined to one region, one state, one country. All the people are his people. And because geographically he was located, he was doing here. But otherwise, whatever work is done even by our own international organization elsewhere, are all expressions of His will that is being carried out by the devotees all over the world.
Yes. I mean, the reason I asked this is a recent report said that there are nearly 20 lakh non-governmental organizations in India. It's almost one non-governmental organization per 600 people. We have a proliferation of such organizations. But as you mentioned, what will always make the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust unique is this spirit of universal love, is the spirit of Swami.
And I think undertake such work as are capable of being attended to through the institution. See, a non-governmental organization also has become governmental organization because it depends on government's aid and assistance. So to be truly a non-governmental organization, it has to really find resources within its own organization, and only undertake such work as is possible to be met by the resources that have been made available to them. So in that regard, the Central Trust today would like to do such work as are capable of being attended to, within its own resources.